Hello and welcome to the cover reveal of Knowledge Itself by Shelley Campbell and Megan King. And we have Shelley live with us today. How are you, Shelley?
I'm good.
Excellent. And Megan, unfortunately, could not make it, but she is going to make a special appearance, so we'll see her in a little bit. First, I want to congratulate you, Shelley, on this incredible novel. I was so happy that you decided to publish with us because I am in love with it. So, what
Oh.
genre is this novel?
This is a young adult, post-apocalyptic sci-fi, but it's kind of a cozier one. The world's been after the apocalypse for a while, and everyone's kind of getting stuff figured out again.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I love that. It wasn't all, guns and killing each other, right? It was more about the actual social aspect of it. And I love that. Though there might be a little bit of guns and killing each other, but that's not the main point.
Yeah.
So I liked it. So we don't want to torture everyone. We want to get right to the cover. So let's see this beautiful cover. Look at her. She's beautiful. And this cover was made by Stephanie Saw. You know, she's one of our favorite cover artists here at Cursed Dragon Ship. And she did a fantastic job with this. And obviously, you can tell by the cover that there is a EMP disaster that caused the end of the world. Yes?
Yeah, solar flare. So the sun's kind of gone a little bit crazy. Yeah, and we're feeling the consequences of that.
Yes, we are here in Houston too. It's 96 degrees outside. But this one, obviously, a bit more severe. So, why did you choose this particular form of end of the world?
We thought, first off, we wanted something that would affect northern latitudes a bit more, so it would make sense where we set it. And that was one of the first things that came to mind is that solar flare events. They can be pretty localized, but you tend to have it more severe in northern or really southern latitudes. So we thought it would be a cool idea to set it somewhere where the end of the world is somewhere remote, and maybe you don't even know if the end of the world has happened everywhere else or if it's just you, because communication is hard once the electricity's off if you're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, they're kind of in remote settings. There's not all tons and tons of population where they're at. So it would be interesting to consider, was it just the end of the world for us, or is everyone else experiencing the same thing we are here?
I love that. That gives us room to grow, right? So as we discover new things. Well, before we keep talking, let us get Megan in to read the back cover copy for us.
Hi, I'm Megan King. I collaborated on the book Knowledge Itself with Shelley Campbell. I can't be there for the cover reveal, so I'm going to read a brief synopsis. After solar flares wipe out electrical grids worldwide, a small community survives by selling data recovered from decrepit hard drives and rare books. Nostalgic for the days of big business, the commune's founding members call themselves corporate and micromanage everyone. Raised into the hustle, Iris Ecosia's ADHD brain rebels at corporate strict structure. It's not all bad though. She attracts the attention of Robert Lycos, the son of one of the shareholders, but their relationship comes to a crashing end when she loses focus at a critical moment and a vital piece of equipment is destroyed. The mistake plunges her into debt. Corporate demotes her to an indentured gardener. Her romance with Robert dissolves. Worse, there are no paid sick days in the post-apocalypse. So when Iris's whole family falls ill, starvation is soon knocking on their door. Meanwhile, the shareholders live like tycoons. Iris and her family are not alone in their poverty or their impotent rage at the corporation who keeps them poor, hungry, and dependent. An underground revolution intent on toppling corporate wants to recruit her. She can still do big things if she joins them, but if she's caught, the shareholders won't stop at destroying her. They'll go after her family too. Thank you.
I love that. I love that you read so many of these like post-apocalyptic, which is probably why I adored this one. And like I said, it's all just war amongst humans, which is going to happen. I'm not saying that's unrealistic. But it's kind of cool and different twist to have this whole community pretending like, nope, everything's fine. Put your heels on. It's time to go to work now. It's just everyone's on the night shift now. That's like the only difference.
Yep.
So that's really cool. Why did you decide to take that angle?
First off, when Megan came up with the idea for the story, we had hoped maybe to set it like in a city, and it's a city that's kind of like remote, isolated, and they don't know that their city has like an end date, that someone else is kind of controlling what's coming in and out of the city and what's happening. And then we thought in northern latitudes like that, it wouldn't be that realistic. How about if you just got people that were like, okay, they're pretending they're a city still. They miss that corporate world. They miss like dressing up and going to work, and especially the people that were at the top end of things when they were in the
ones in
corporate
charge,
world,
right? Yeah.
They missed the boardroom meetings and all of that. So we thought it'd be really neat if you set it up that they just still had this culture, almost a culture of business life. They just missed that part of the world, missed how modern it felt, and were hanging on to that decades into the post-apocalypse.
Yes, yes. No, I loved it. I love that twist. So it's really cool to watch them go through the process. And you already had a cover when you sent me the manuscript. So you had one that you liked, you had in mind. So I'm wondering, what parts of that original cover do you like that were brought out in this one?
They did a fantastic job with the solar flares, the sun, and Iris as well, and the sea cans. Just the fact that this whole like commune, what they call a city, which isn't the furthest thing from a city, they're all living in like converted sea can houses because they're concerned about solar flares, and they want to be in something that has metal walls because it acts like a Faraday cage. So yeah, they've all in these fitted out sea cans. So you can see in the background there's the stacked sea can kind of houses. So they're in a very different kind of environment than we're used to. They end up taking over it was going to be a commune. A rich gentleman knew the end of the world was coming and paid through the teeth to have it built, but then passed away before it was finished. So when the world did end, all his contractors just kind of took it over.
Just took over. I love it. I love it. No, it looks really good. And then it was funny because when Stephanie first did Iris on the cover, who the main character that Megan just told us about. So Iris on the cover, that she was like, had her hair was perfectly, she had makeup on. I mean, she was looking good. She was styling, cute, man. Yeah. Right. And you and Megan were like, can we make her like hair not perfect and maybe not makeup on, because there's no way Iris will put makeup on. Can you tell us a little bit about her while you were like, this isn't quite her?
It felt really ridiculous to like come back with feedback for a cover which was like, she's nice, but can you dirty her up a little? Megan and I were talking, and we were saying like Iris is not the most like put together person most of the time, and she's in the post-apocalypse, so we thought she looks good, but could you make her hair look a little bit messier? Could she be a bit dirtier? She's like walking through soot and flames, and I mean they do dress in like business casual a lot of the time, but they're still in a world that's like out there in nature, and there's the sun is pretty cruel, and you get sunburns quite easily. So she has some scarring on her face from a sunburn when she was a kid, sort of thing. And so yeah, the first cover was like, she looks great, a little too great.
Yeah. Can we fix that?
Can we dirty her up a bit? Just make her look a bit messier. And internally, Iris always feels like she's a bit of a mess, so it felt more reflective of Iris's personality to have her just a little bit smudged.
Well, she is a mess, but that particular mind of hers is exactly what was necessary. So I love it. I love that you did this. So I know that you have a bit of reading for us. Can you please set up the scene?
Sure. So in this scene, Iris is coming on a night shift to visit people that she delivers food to. So you're supposed to buy food on credit, so everything is tracked. And if you don't have enough money for food, you don't get to stay in the city. But of course, there's kind of like a little underground group that's helping people out, that's going out and getting food for them, and they deliver it at night when everyone's gone to work on their shifts. And Iris ends up having to deliver it to Robert, which is kind of her romantic interest, but he's in the corporate world, and she's been demoted to a gardener. And this is one night after she's delivered to his place quite a few times where she comes to visit him and lets her guard down just a bit.
Excellent. I love it.
Shall I just dive right in?
Yeah, just dive right in. We want to hear it.
All right. The sky was clear and needled with cold starlight on my next delivery night. Frog song ricocheted between puddles, and the sharp, astringent smell of sagebrush stirred around me as I headed to Robert's. He was sitting on a blanket on his back deck, waiting. Meteor shower tonight, he gestured towards the horizon. You've missed some big ones. come and sit for a bit? I promised you falling stars on our first walk, and I never did deliver. I shook my head, but my feet were so tired, and he looked so doggedly hopeful when he held up his hand. My resistance crumbled. 10 minutes, no longer, I said. Deal. Robert patted the blanket beside him and lay back with his arms crossed over his head. I eased down beside him and swallowed hard. I'd forgotten the smell of him, the faint aftershave, how when we were close enough to brush arms, the space between us felt like unsettled air before a storm. This was a mistake. For several breaths, we shivered and blinked up at the sky. Did you know you could see satellites from Earth when they were orbiting, before they were all crippled and fell? Robert murmured. You didn't even need a telescope. You could just spot them cruising through space. Really? Yeah, my mom told me about it. She had some program on her phone, and there was this massive international station up there too, with astronauts on it 24/7, and you could map out which nights it would be flying over your part of the sky. You could just look up and see it flashing past, and maybe they'd be looking down at the same time, all those hundreds of kilometers apart, but still connected. He shifted, his cold fingers slipping into mine. I knew I should pull away, but his hand was shaking, and I didn't think it was from the cold. I chose my words carefully. There are some distances that are too far to connect. I keep falling into your orbit, Iris. A laugh burst out of me. Frank, that has got to be the cheesiest pickup line I've ever heard. I snorted and covered my mouth. Robert laughed too. We couldn't stop once we started. Shh, I gasped. Someone will hear. Nah, the frogs are too loud, he whispered, swiping tears from his eyes and stroking my hand. We fell into silence, suddenly serious again. I couldn't gauge the sudden switch in mood. My heart pounded in my throat. No one laughs with me anymore, Iris. It's like they think it'll break me. 2 flashes streaked across the sky, one after the other, leaving ribbons of smoke cutting across the black. Gasping, I pointed, what do you wish for? And then I turned to him, still smiling. I could do this. I could keep this casual. This, Robert pulled me towards him and kissed me, his thumb tracing down my jaw and his body warm against mine. My breath caught in my throat, and a delicious tingle smoothed down every thought in my head before cascading down my spine. Robert pressed his hand against the small of my back, and it felt like it had always belonged here. We'd always belonged here. Only we didn't. Our programming was incompatible. Robert lived in a world so alien to mine we might as well have been born on different planets, and I had a job now. People would starve if I was caught. Still, it took every strand of strength I had to peel away from Robert's embrace. He froze when I did. I think we should go back to being pen pals, I said, and while I still could, I stood up and walked out of his yard.
Yay! Well done. I love it. I mean, it is YA. There's a bit of love story in there, but I love how you wove it in. Like, it's not the main point of the book at all. No. A lot of times you read YA and it's really just a romance with, some pretty draperies. This one, it's part of her life. It makes total sense where she is. It makes total sense what's going on, but it doesn't define what's going on. And I adore that. So really well done. I am linking the book in here again. It is up for pre-orders. So exciting.
Yay.
And it is open for pre-order everywhere you can pre-order your books. So this is not just an Amazon thing. Shelley and Megan are in Canada, if you've not figured that out yet. So we want to make sure all of their readers also have access to the book. And even though, of course, you have Amazon, we did some research. Turns out a lot of other people outside of America use other things besides Amazon. Who knew? Who knew? So we want to have it up. Okay, we knew. That's kind of the point. So we put it up there for you guys. So if you can order it now, it comes out August 16th. So we'll have a big book launch, and Megan will be able to join us then, I'm sure. So we'll be all together for that one. So it's really exciting. So we look forward to seeing this. And then this one, it is a series. Yes?
Yes.
Excellent. And Birdie commented she loves the title Soul Survivors. It's very clever. Since there's anyone listening to this, there's no E, right? It's just soul, like the sun, survivors. And I love that. I remember when we were trying to think up of a of a series title. I sent you like 17 bad ones because I couldn't come up with a good one. And you were just like, I kind of like Soul Survivors. And I was like, where did that come from? It's genius. We're totally using that. So where did it come from?
I think me and Megan were discussing like something that was a play on words on soul, on the sun. We wanted it to be obvious before you picked up the book, even if it was like the second book you picked up in the series, that this was post-apocalypse involving solar flares. Yeah.
I love it. Well, it was really well done. Well, congratulations again. Book birthday's coming up in a few months, so we cannot wait. We cannot wait until readers get this in their hands. It is very exciting. Do you have any final words?
Just thanks so much. It's been a riot so far. Megan and I can't wait to share it with everyone.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Please make sure to pre-order your copy, and we will see you next week. Thank you.